The desperate arrival, the silent approach. The morning shift at Lunar Station 7 started like any other. Commander Alina Torres sat in her command chair, watching the endless dance of cargo ships and mining vessels around Earth's moon. Coffee steamed in her cup as she reviewed the daily reports. Everything seemed normal in humanity's small corner of space. Then the proximity alarms shattered the peaceful routine. "Commander," Lieutenant Jackson's voice cracked with excitement and fear. "We have a massive contact approaching from the outer system. It's big, ma'am. Really big." Torres set down her coffee and moved to the main display. A dot of light crawled across the screen, but the computer's analysis made her heart race. The object was over 4 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide. No human ship had ever been built on such a scale. "Is it responding to our hails?" Torres asked, her training keeping her voice steady. "Negative, Commander, but it's broadcasting something. Our computers are trying to decode it now." The communication array buzzed and clicked as Earth's most advanced systems worked to understand the alien signal. Torres had dreamed of this moment since joining the Space Defense Corps, but she had always imagined first contact would be more ceremonial. This felt desperate. "Got it," Jackson announced. "The message is simple. It says, critical damage. Require immediate assistance. Please respond." Torres stared at the screen. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and they were asking for help. She opened a channel to Earth Command, knowing this decision was important for one person. Within minutes, her screen filled with the faces of Earth's leaders. President Chen, Admiral Rodriguez, and Director Walsh of the Science Division all looked as shocked as Torres felt. Commander Toki's President Chun said carefully, "What's your assessment of the situation?" "Mr. President, the alien vessel appears to be in genuine distress. Long-range sensors show multiple hull breaches and power fluctuations. Whatever happened to them, they're in bad shape." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. "Could this be a trick? A way to get close to Earth?" "Possible, sir. But if they wanted to attack us, they wouldn't need tricks. Their ship could probably destroy every human vessel in the system." The leaders exchanged worried glances before President Chen spoke again. "Permission granted to render assistance, Commander, but maintain all defensive protocols and get our best people ready." The engineering miracle. Sarah Kim was in her laboratory when the call came. As Earth's leading expert in advanced propulsion systems, she had spent years dreaming about alien technology. Now she was being asked to fix it. Chief Marcus Webb received his orders while elbow-deep in a fusion reactor repair. He was humanity's best engineer, known for fixing things that everyone else said were impossible. His hands were always dirty, his jumpsuit covered in grease, but his mind could solve any mechanical problem. They met at the shuttle bay with Torres, both carrying bags of tools and scanning equipment. "Never thought I'd see this day," Webb said, looking out at the approaching alien ship through the viewport. "None of us did," Kim replied, her scanner already active. "The energy readings from that ship are off the charts. Whatever powers it is beyond anything we've ever seen." Torres checked her sidearm one more time. "Remember, we're here to help, but stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." The alien ship grew larger as their shuttle approached. Up close, the damage was even more severe. Sections of the hull were missing entirely, revealing twisted metal and sparking electronics inside. Strange fires burned in the vacuum of space, fed by energy sources Kim couldn't identify. "How is that ship still holding together?" Webb muttered. Advanced materials, Kim answered, her scanner working overtime. The hull is trying to repair itself, but the damage is too extensive. A docking port opened in the alien ship's side, revealing an airlock designed for beings much larger than humans. The shuttle connected with a gentle bump, and the three humans stepped into the unknown. First contact, the airlock cycled through its sequence, and the inner door opened to reveal three alien figures. Torres had seen the computer's analysis, but meeting them in person was overwhelming. The aliens stood nearly 3 meters tall, with broad shoulders and 4 powerful arms. Their skin was dark gray, almost black, with patterns of silver running across it like lightning. They wore armor that seemed to shift and change color, and their eyes glowed with an inner light. The center figure stepped forward and spoke. A device on its chest translated the words into English. "I am Commander Zethkar of the Korvathi Imperial Cruiser Drakethor. You are the ones who answered our distress call." Torres stepped forward, fighting the urge to look up at the towering alien. "I'm Commander Alina Torres of the Earth Defense Corps. This is Dr. Sarah Kim and Chief Marcus Webb. We're here to help." Zethkar's expression was hard to read, but his tone suggested reluctance. "Your assistance is ... appreciated. However, I must warn you that our technology is far beyond your understanding. Your efforts, while admirable, may prove futile." Webb shifted his tool bag and grinned. "We'd like to try anyway, if that's okay with you." "Very well, but please, do not damage anything further. Our situation is already desperate." As they followed Zethkar deeper into the ship, Kim and Webb marveled at everything around them. The corridors were huge, designed for beings twice human size. The walls pulsed with energy, and control panels floated in mid-air without visible support. "Incredible," Kim whispered. "The entire ship is integrated. Every surface is part of the computer system." Webb was studying a damaged wall panel. "This metal ... It's like nothing I've ever seen. It's trying to reform itself, but something's blocking the process." Other Korvathi crew members watched the humans with mixtures of curiosity and amusement. These tiny beings, with their primitive tools, were going to repair a Korvathi warship. It seemed impossible. The heart of the problem, the engine room, was a cathedral of technology. In the center stood a massive crystalline structure, easily 20 meters tall, pulsing with energy that made the air itself hum. Smaller crystals orbited around it, connected by streams of pure power. "This is our quantum heart," Zethkar explained. "It draws energy from the fabric of space itself, but the resonance chamber is damaged. Without proper harmonics, the entire system will collapse within days." Kim ran her scanner over the central crystal, her eyes wide with wonder. "The energy output is incredible. This one reactor could power all of Earth for 1,000 years." "Harmonics are off," Webb observed, listening to the sound the crystals made. "Like an orchestra where half the instruments are out of tune." Zethkar looked surprised. "You can hear the dissonance." "I've been tuning engines my whole life," Webb replied. "Energy is energy, whether it comes from combustion or quantum crystals." Around the reactor, several smaller crystals had gone dark. Their surfaces were cracked, and the patterns of energy that should have flowed through them were chaotic. "These resonance crystals must be replaced," Zethkar said. "But they require materials that do not exist in this system. The manufacturing process takes months, even with our technology." Kim was studying the dead crystals with her scanner. "The crystal structure is damaged, but the base material is still good. What if we could repair the lattice instead of replacing the whole thing? Impossible. The quantum lattice cannot be rebuilt once broken. Webb was already unpacking his tools. Mind if I take a look? Before Zethkar could object, Webb had opened one of the damaged crystals. Inside was a structure more complex than anything on Earth. But Webb's trained, I could see the problem. Dr. Kim, look at this. The lattice isn't really broken. It's just twisted out of alignment, like a spring that's been wound too tight. Kim peered into the crystal. You're right. If we could apply the right frequency, we might be able to coax it back into proper alignment. Frequency? Zethkar seemed confused. You would use sound waves to repair quantum structures. Sound, vibration, resonance, Webb said, pulling out a device that looked like a tuning fork. It's all the same thing. Everything has a natural frequency. You just have to find it. The impossible solution what followed was a display of human ingenuity that left the Korvathi speechless. Webb and Kim worked together, using Earth technology in ways it was never designed for. Kim's quantum scanner, originally built to study subatomic particles, was recalibrated to map the crystal's internal structure. Webb's sonic tools, designed for metalwork, were modified to produce the exact frequencies needed to repair the quantum lattice. The resonance is stabilizing, Kim reported, watching her readings with amazement. The crystal structure is actually rebuilding itself. Webb grinned as he adjusted the frequency generator. Sometimes the old ways work best. Before we had computers and fancy electronics, we fixed things by listening to them, feeling them, understanding how they wanted to work. Zethkar watched in stunned silence as the first crystal came back to life. The cracked surface sealed itself, and streams of energy began flowing through it again. How, he whispered, your primitive tools should not be able to affect quantum structures. They're not primitive, Kim said gently. They're just different. We approach problems differently than you do. Your people build amazing things, Webb added, working on the second crystal. But you build them to be perfect from the start. We build things expecting them to break, so we get really good at fixing them. As more crystals came back online, the quantum heart's song grew stronger and more harmonious. The chaotic energy patterns smoothed out, and the reactor's output increased steadily. Other Korvathi had gathered to watch. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. These small, soft creatures with their simple tools were accomplishing what Korvathi engineers had said was impossible. The quantum heart is at 70% capacity, reported Subcommander Vextar, Zethkar, as second in command. All primary systems are coming back online. How long will these repairs last? Zethkar asked. Webb looked up from the third crystal. Well, that depends. With regular maintenance, probably forever. But this jury-rigged solution we've got here, maybe a few years before you need proper replacements. A few years, Zethkar's voice carried disbelief. You have given us years of life with tools that should not work. Kim was already working on improvements to the system. Actually, I think we can do better than that. Your resonance crystals are incredibly efficient, but they're also fragile. What if we added some redundancy? Redundancy, backup systems, Webb explained. If one crystal fails, another takes over automatically. We do it with all our important systems. You assume your technology will fail. We know it will fail, Kim said with a smile. So we plan for it. As the day wore on, the humans continued to amaze their hosts. Every problem seemed to have a solution, even if that solution involved combining alien technology with human innovation in ways that should have been impossible. The quantum hearts sang with perfect harmony. The ship's lights grew brighter as power flowed freely again. Systems that had been dead for weeks suddenly came back to life. But for Zethkar, the most shocking part wasn't the repairs themselves. It was how the humans worked. They didn't follow rigid procedures or consult elaborate manuals. They improvised. They adapted. They found solutions that no Korvathi engineer would have ever considered. And they did it all with tools that were thousands of years behind Korvathi technology. As the Drakeful-S systems fully restored, Zethkar realized something that chilled him to his core. These weren't primitive beings who had gotten lucky. These were problem solvers who could adapt to any challenge. The humans had just demonstrated that they could master Korvathi technology in a single day. What would they accomplish in a year, in a decade, in a century? For the first time since the repairs began, Zethkar wondered if helping these humans learn about galactic technology had been a terrible mistake. The rising revelation the fleet arrives the second day brought unwelcome visitors. Commander Torres watched her screens as 5 more Korvathi ships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. These vessels were smaller than the Drakethal, but they moved with the precision of a military formation. Commander Zechka Dois called over the communication link. "You have company arriving." On the alien ship's bridge, Zethkar's expression darkened as he saw the approaching fleet. "Those are Korvathi patrol vessels. They have come to investigate our situation." "Are they friendly?" Torres asked, though she could already guess the answer from Zethkar's tone. "They will not attack you directly, but they may not understand why we are accepting help from ... from your people." The way he hesitated before saying "your people" told Torres everything she needed to know. The Korvathi saw humans as primitives, and accepting help from primitives was embarrassing. On the lead patrol ship, Admiral Korveth was having a similar conversation with his officers. "Zethkar's ship is docked with the local space station," reported his tactical officer. "Sensors show both Korvathi and human life signs aboard the Drakethal. Humans aboard a Korvathi vessel." Admiral Korveth, S4 arms, gestured in disgust. What is Zethkar thinking? Has he lost his mind? "Perhaps the primitives are holding him hostage," suggested Captain Nextra from the second ship. "No," Korveth replied, studying the sensor readings. "The humans have only a handful of beings aboard. They could not threaten a full Korvathi crew. This is something else." The fleet moved closer, their crews expecting to find Zethkar in desperate need of rescue from incompetent aliens. Instead, they found something that defied all their expectations. The watchers inside the Drakethal, the human repair work continued. Dr. Kim had moved on to the ship's navigation systems, while Chief Webb was working on the damaged hull plating. Both were being watched by growing crowds of Korvathi crew members. "The bioneural navigation network is incredible," Kim told the Korvathi navigator, Sub-Commander Yextai, "but it's working too hard. The organic processors are exhausted." "Yes," Yextai agreed. "Long-range navigation requires continuous calculation. The bioneural matrix must work without rest." Kim pulled out a small device about the size of a book. "What if we gave it some help? This is a quantum computer. It can handle the simple mathematics while your bioneural system focuses on the complex spatial calculations." "A quantum computer?" Yextai examined the device. "This small thing processes quantum calculations. Basic ones, yes. Nothing like your bioneural matrix, but enough to take some of the workload off the organic components." An hour later, the navigation system was running smoother than it had in years. The bioneural processors were operating at peak efficiency because They weren't wasted on simple arithmetic. Meanwhile, Webb was making discoveries of his own. The Corvathi hull plating was made of a self-healing metal that could repair minor damage automatically. But the system had limitations. The problem is energy distribution, Webb explained to Chief Engineer Murdoch. Your hull can heal small holes, but big damage overwhelms the repair system. The energy gets spread too thin. Yes, this is a known limitation. Large repairs require shipyard facilities. Webb pulled out a roll of material that looked like metallic fabric. What if we gave it some help? This is carbon nanotube mesh. It's incredibly strong, and it conducts energy really well. You wish to attach your primitive materials to our hull. Not attach, integrate. Your self-healing metal is smart. If we weave this mesh into the damaged sections, the metal can use it as a framework, like giving it a skeleton to build on. Murdoch was skeptical, but he watched as Webb carefully wove the nanotube mesh into a section of damaged hull plating. Then Webb activated the ship's repair systems. The result was immediate and dramatic. The self-healing metal flowed along the nanotube framework like water finding a riverbed. The repair process was faster and stronger than anything Murdoch had ever seen. Impossible, he whispered. The repair strength is twice normal specifications. Sometimes two different technologies work better together than either one alone, Webb said with a grin. We call it synergy. The impossible improvement. By the time the Corvathi fleet arrived to observe, the humans had made 17 major improvements to the Drakethal S systems. Each modification made the ship work better than its original design. Admiral Corvath beamed aboard with a full escort of officers, expecting to find chaos. Instead, he found a ship that was running better than when it left the shipyard. What have you done? He demanded of Zethkar. The humans have repaired our damage, Zethkar replied carefully, and ... improved our systems. Improved primitives. Improved Corvathi technology. Kim looked up from a control panel she was modifying. We prefer the term enhanced compatibility. We're not changing your technology, just finding ways to make it work better with different approaches. Corvath stared at the small human female. You dare to suggest improvements to systems developed over thousands of years? Well, Kim said politely, we've been looking at your power distribution network. It's incredibly advanced, but it has some inefficiencies. Small ones, but they add up. Show me, Corvath commanded, his voice dangerous. Kim led him to the main engineering display. Your power flows in a hub-and-spoke pattern, with the quantum heart at the center. Very elegant, but when one spoke fails, you lose power to entire sections of the ship. Yes, this is accepted design doctrine. What if you connected the spokes to each other, created a mesh network instead of a hub system? Kim's fingers danced over the display, showing a new power routing pattern. If one connection fails, power can flow around the damage. Corvath studied the display. The design was revolutionary, but it was also obviously superior to current Corvathi methods. This would require complete redesign of all our vessels. He said slowly. Not necessarily, Webb said, joining the conversation. You could retrofit existing ships with bypass connections. Wouldn't be as good as building it in from the start, but it would work. Captain Nexra, who had been listening in silence, stepped forward. Admiral, with respect, we should test this concept. If the primitivs ... if the humans are correct, this could revolutionize our fleet capabilities. The test. What followed was an impromptu demonstration that shook the Corvathi to their core. Webb and Kim, working with the Drakethal S engineering crew, installed a small test version of their mesh power network. Then they deliberately damaged one of the power conduits. In a normal Corvathi ship, this would have caused a cascade failure, shutting down entire sections. Instead, power rerouted automatically through the mesh network. The lights didn't even flicker. "Remarkable," whispered Captain Nexra. "Complete redundancy with no loss of efficiency." But the humans weren't finished. Over the next several hours, they demonstrated improvement after improvement. Better weapon targeting systems that combined Corvathi sensors with human tracking algorithms. Enhanced shield generators that used human superconductors to improve efficiency. Navigation improvements that cut travel time by 15% each. Demonstration left the Corvathi more shaken. These weren't just repairs. These were fundamental advances in technology that their greatest minds had never considered. The recognition as the day progressed, Admiral Corveth found himself in private consultation with his captains. "What are we witnessing?" asked Captain Vexamore from the third ship. "Evolution," replied Captain Nextra grimly. "We're watching a species learn to surpass us in real time." Corveth nodded slowly. "In 2 days, they have improved our technology beyond anything our engineers have achieved in centuries, and they share their knowledge freely." "Which means they're confident," Captain Holdar observed. "They know they can outpace anything we might learn from them." The implications were staggering. The Corvathi Empire had ruled this region of space for millennia through technological superiority. But these humans demonstrated an adaptability, an innovation that could render that advantage meaningless. Admiral Vexamar said quietly, "What do we do about this?" Before Corveth could answer, Torres' voice came over the communication system. "Admiral Corveth, we'd like to show you something." In the Drakethal S main hangar, the humans had set up a small manufacturing station. Kim was operating what looked like a 3D printer, but the materials it was producing were unlike anything the Corvathi had seen. "This is a molecular assembler," Kim explained. "We can manufacture components at the atomic level. Dr. Webb designed a kyber crystal that combines your quantum resonance technology with our manufacturing precision." The device finished its work, producing a crystal that glowed with inner light. Kim handed it to Morduk, who scanned it with his instruments. "This crystal has 97% efficiency," he reported in amazement. "Our best manufacturing plants achieve only 92%. And we can make them anywhere," Webb added. "Don't need a shipyard or special facilities, just raw materials and the assembler." The Corvathi officers exchanged worried glances. Not only could humans improve their technology, they could manufacture it better and faster than the Corvathi themselves. The departures, the Drakethal S repairs, reached completion. The ship hummed with power like never before. Every system ran at peak efficiency. The hull was stronger than original specifications. The weapons were more accurate, the shields more resilient, and the engines more powerful. "Your ship is ready," Torres announced to Zethkar. "Better than ready, actually. These modifications should last for decades." Zethkar looked around his bridge. Human-designed displays showed system statuses that were all deep green. The quantum heart sang with perfect harmony. His ship had never been in better condition. "Commander Toggies," he said formally, "the Corvathi Empire is in your debt." "No debt necessary," Torres replied. "We were happy to help." That casual dismissal of what should have been a massive favor only reinforced what the Corvathi had learned. Humans didn't see this as a transaction. They saw it as problem-solving. They would have done the same for anyone as the Corvathi fleet prepared to depart. Admiral Corveth requested a final private meeting with Torres. "Commander," he said, "I must ask you something directly. What are your people's intentions regarding galactic civilization?" Torres considered the question carefully. "We're explorers and builders, Admiral. We want to learn, to grow, to find our place among the stars. We're not looking for conflict, but you are looking to expand. Of course, humanity has always pushed boundaries. It's what we do." Corveth nodded grimly. That was what he had feared. And if other species try to stop that expansion? Torres's expression hardened slightly. "Then they'll discover that we're very good at solving problems, Admiral. All kinds of problems. The new realities. The Corvathi ships departed Earth's solar system. Their crews carried with them a troubling new understanding. They had encountered not primitives, but the next dominant species in the galaxy. The humans had demonstrated capabilities that went beyond mere technology. They showed adaptability, innovation, and determination that could overcome any obstacle. They learned faster than any species the Corvathi had ever encountered, and most disturbing of all, they had shared their knowledge freely, without asking for anything in return. This wasn't the behavior of a species seeking advantage. This was the confidence of a species that knew it could outpace any competitor on Earth. The implications were equally profound. The successful repair of the Corvathi ship had demonstrated that human technology and ingenuity could compete with advanced alien civilizations. The modifications and improvements they had made proved that humanity's approach to problem-solving was not just different, but potentially superior. Dr. Kim stood in her laboratory, studying scans of Corvathi technology. "We've learned more about advanced physics in 2 days than in the previous century," she told her research team. "And we've proven that our methods can improve on theirs." Chief Webb was in his workshop, designing new hybrid technologies that combined human and Corvathi principles. "They build things to last forever," he mused. "We build things expecting them to evolve. Turns out, evolution wins." Commander Torres filed her report with Earth Command, knowing that it would change everything. First contact had not gone as anyone expected. Instead of being overwhelmed by superior alien technology, humans had demonstrated their own superiority in the most important area of all, the ability to adapt and innovate. The message was clear. Humanity was ready for the galaxy, whether the galaxy was ready for humanity or not. As news of the successful repairs spread throughout human space, a new confidence emerged. Humanity had always known it was destined for the stars. Now it knew it belonged there. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the depths of space, Admiral Corveth composed his report to the Corvathi High Command. It was a difficult message to write, because it meant admitting that the Empire's technological supremacy was no longer assured. "We have encountered a species with capabilities that rival or exceed our own," he wrote. "They call themselves humans, and they possess an adaptability that makes them extremely dangerous. They do not conquer through force, but through innovation. They do not demand tribute, but earn respect. They are not primitives seeking our guidance, but equals claiming their place among the stars." He paused, considering his next words carefully. Recommendation. The Corvathi Empire should prepare for a fundamental shift in galactic power. The age of human dominance has begun.